Scarcity begins in the mind long before it appears in your circumstances. It is the voice that tells you there isn't enough, that opportunities are disappearing, that someone else's success means less success for you, and that your current situation is somehow your permanent destination. But listen carefully. Your current circumstances are not the boundaries of your future. See, when you constantly think, I don't have enough, your attention becomes trapped in what is missing. You notice the closed door, but ignore the windows. You see someone moving ahead and immediately think you're falling behind. You look at your mistakes and forget everything you've already overcome. That mindset steals your energy before you even take action. You must train yourself to think differently. Instead of asking, why don't I have what they have? Ask, what can I learn from what they have? Instead of saying, there are no opportunities, ask, what opportunities am I failing to notice? Instead of thinking, I'm not capable, ask, what skill do I need to develop? Those questions change your direction because they put you back in control. Abundance doesn't mean believing that everything will magically work out. It means believing that you can respond, adapt, learn, and create even when circumstances are difficult. Maybe you don't have the money yet. Learn. Maybe you don't have the experience yet. Practice. Maybe you don't have the connections yet. Build relationships. Maybe you failed yesterday. Learn from it and move again. Don't turn temporary limitations into permanent beliefs. And stop comparing your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. You don't know how many years they spent learning, failing, sacrificing, and improving before you saw the result. Their success is not evidence that you cannot succeed. It is evidence that progress is possible. There is another dangerous form of scarcity believing. You must compete with everyone around you. You don't. Your real competition is the version of yourself that keeps making excuses, keeps postponing action, and keeps accepting limitations without questioning them. Every day, give yourself a new challenge. Expand your thinking. Look for one opportunity you previously ignored. Learn one thing you didn't know. Take one action you were afraid to take. Solve one problem instead of complaining about it. Small actions create evidence. Evidence creates confidence. Confidence creates bigger action. Your mind needs proof that possibility exists, and you give it that proof every time you move forward. So stop staring at what you don't have. Look at what you can build. Stop counting every closed door. Start searching for another way forward. Stop asking whether there is enough for you. Start becoming the person capable of creating more. The world doesn't need you to have everything today. It needs you to stop believing that today is all you will ever have. Your future is still being built. Think bigger, learn more, create more, give more, move forward. Scarcity says, there isn't enough. Abundance says, let's discover what is possible. Why don't you choose the second voice and then prove it through your actions? You are not finished. No matter where you are today, you are still capable of learning, improving, adapting, and becoming stronger. The biggest mistake you can make is looking at your current abilities and treating them like permanent limits. You may not know how to do something today. That doesn't mean you will never know. You may lack confidence today. That doesn't mean confidence cannot be built. You may have failed before. That doesn't mean failure gets to write the rest of your story. Your potential is not a fixed number. Think about how much you have already changed. There were things you once couldn't understand that you understand today. There were challenges that once felt impossible that you eventually survived. There were skills you once didn't have that you learned through repetition. That is evidence you can grow. But growth requires you to stop protecting your comfort. You cannot become stronger while constantly avoiding everything that challenges you. You cannot develop confidence by waiting until you feel confident. You cannot build discipline by only doing what feels easy. Growth begins when you decide that discomfort is not your enemy. When something is difficult, don't immediately say, "I'm not good at this." Say, "I'm not good at this yet." That single word changes your relationship with difficulty. Yet means the story is still being written. When you fail, don't turn the failure into an identity. Don't say, "I'm a failure." Say, "That approach failed. What can I change?" When someone criticizes you, don't automatically become defensive. Ask, "Is there something here that can help me improve?" When you make a mistake, don't waste the entire day attacking yourself. Extract the lesson and move forward. You don't need to become a completely different person overnight. You need to make better decisions consistently. Read when you could scroll. Practice when you could quit. Try again when your first attempt doesn't work. Take responsibility when blaming someone else would be easier. Every small decision becomes a vote for the person you are becoming. And don't measure growth only by visible results. Sometimes growth looks like staying calm when you once reacted emotionally. Sometimes it looks like keeping a promise to yourself. Sometimes it means walking away from an old habit. Sometimes it means having the courage to begin again. Progress is not always loud, but it is powerful. Your life can expand when your skills expand. Your opportunities can expand when your thinking expands. Your confidence can expand when you repeatedly prove to yourself that you can handle challenges. So stop asking, "What if this is all I'm capable of?" Ask a better question. What could I become if I refuse to stop growing? That question can change your entire direction. You are not required to have everything figured out today. You only need the courage to keep learning, keep improving, keep experimenting, keep getting back up. Because as long as you are willing to grow, your story is not finished, and your best version may still be ahead of you. Stop wasting your life trying to prove your worth to people who may never understand your journey. The moment you stop chasing approval and start creating value, your entire mindset changes. Too many people wake up thinking, "How can I get noticed? How can I make people respect me? How can I make everyone see that I'm successful?" But those questions put your power in other people's hands. You don't control their opinions. You don't control their reactions. You don't control whether they applaud you. What you control is what you build, what you learn, what you contribute, and how seriously you take your own growth. That's where your power begins. Instead of asking, "How can I impress people?" ask, "How can I become useful? I'll earn a skill that solves real problems." Become someone who keeps their word. Become someone who brings solutions instead of excuses. Become someone who listens carefully, communicates clearly, and helps others move forward. The world rewards value far more than attention. Attention can disappear overnight. Value compounds. Every skill you develop adds something to your personal toolbox. Every problem you learn to solve increases your capability. Every experience you turn into wisdom becomes something you can carry into your future. And here's something you must understand. Someone else's success does not take away your opportunity. There is no need to spend your energy being jealous of someone who is ahead of you. Study them. Learn from them. Let their progress prove that growth is possible. You don't need their life. You need to build yours. Comparison becomes destructive when you use someone else's achievement as evidence that you're failing. But comparison can become useful when you use it as information. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Then return your attention to your own path. Stop performing for an invisible audience. You don't need to announce every goal. You don't need everyone to understand your plans. You don't need constant praise to keep moving. Work quietly when necessary. Improve quietly. Build quietly. Let your results speak when the time is right. And remember, creating value isn't only about money. You create value when you encourage someone, solve a problem, teach something useful, create something meaningful, or make a difficult situation easier for another person. The more value you can create, the more opportunities you can create. So don't wake up asking, wake up asking, what can I contribute today? What can you learn? What can you improve? What problem can you solve? Who can you help? What can you create? Those questions transform you from a person waiting for life to change into a person actively participating in change. Your goal is not to become someone everyone approves of. Your goal is to become someone you respect. Build character, build skills, build discipline, build knowledge, build something useful, and stop chasing validation. When you become obsessed with creating value instead of proving your worth, you become harder to distract, harder to discourage, and far more focused on what actually matters. Don't chase applause. Become valuable. Don't chase attention. Create impact. Don't chase approval. Build a life that speaks for itself. Your mind is always looking for evidence. If you constantly tell yourself that life is difficult, opportunities are rare, and nothing ever works out for you, your mind will begin collecting proof to support that belief. But if you train your mind to search for possibilities, you start seeing doors where you once saw walls. This doesn't mean pretending problems don't exist. It means refusing to let problems become the only thing you can see. Every difficult situation contains a question answers. What can I do from here? Maybe the situation isn't what you wanted. Maybe the opportunity disappeared. Maybe someone rejected you. Maybe your first attempt failed. You can spend hours asking, why did this happen to me? Or you can ask a more powerful question. What is my next move? That question changes everything. You cannot control every event in your life, but you can control your response. And sometimes your response is the beginning of a completely different future. Train yourself to look for the next step instead of demanding the entire staircase. You don't need to know exactly how everything will work out. You need enough courage to take the next constructive action. If you don't have the skill, learn it. If you don't understand something, study it. If your plan failed, adjust it. If one door closes, search for another road. If you made a mistake, extract the lesson and continue. This is how possibility thinking is developed. Not through wishful thinking, but through repeated action. Your environment matters too. What you constantly consume becomes part of your mental environment. If you spend all your time listening to negativity, comparison, fear, and complaints, your mind can become trained to expect problems everywhere. Protect your attention. Fill your mind with ideas that challenge you. Learn from people who have built something meaningful. Read. Reflect. Ask better questions. Spend time thinking about solutions instead of endlessly discussing problems. And stop saying, I can't. Replace it with, how? How can I prove? How can I learn this? How can I solve this? How can I make this better? How can I create an opportunity? You may not always have an immediate answer. That's okay. The question itself forces your mind to search. And the more you search, the more possibilities you discover. Remember, your first thought doesn't have to be your final thought. When your mind says, this is impossible, pause and challenge it. Ask whether it is truly impossible, or simply unfamiliar, difficult, or uncomfortable. There is a huge difference. A possibility mindset doesn't guarantee that every dream will happen exactly as imagined. It gives you the courage to explore, adapt, and continue when the first path doesn't work. So train your mind. Look for solutions. Look for lessons. Look for opportunities. Look for the next step. Don't let one bad day convince you that your entire future is bad. Don't let one rejection convince you that every door is closed. Don't let one failure convince you that you cannot succeed. Your circumstances may change slowly, but your thinking can change today. And when you change the way you see possibilities, you begin changing the way you act. Stop asking, what if everything goes wrong? Start asking, what if there is a way forward that I haven't discovered yet? Then get up, search, learn, act, keep moving. Because sometimes the opportunity you're waiting for isn't hiding somewhere in the world. It's hiding inside a possibility your mind hasn't learned to see yet. Stop waiting for life to become perfect before you decide to believe in your future. Perfect conditions may never arrive. There will always be uncertainty, obstacles, delays, and moments when you don't know exactly what happens next. But you can become the kind of person who expects possibility even when the path isn't clear. Expectation changes behavior. When you expect nothing to work, you hesitate before you begin. You overthink. You look for reasons to quit. But when you expect that there is something to learn, something to build, and some way forward, you approach challenges differently. You become more willing to act, more willing to learn, more willing to try again. That doesn't mean believing that everything will happen exactly the way you want. It means believing that every situation can contain a next step. Maybe the plan changes. Maybe the timeline changes. Maybe the opportunity comes from somewhere you never expected. Maybe your original goal evolves into something even more meaningful. The person with an abundant mindset doesn't demand that life follow one specific script. They remain flexible enough to recognize opportunities when they appear. So stop saying, my chance is gone. You don't know that. You only know that one particular opportunity didn't work out. Stop saying, it's too late. You don't know what can happen when you begin taking consistent action. Stop saying, I missed my opportunity. Well, ask yourself, what opportunity can I create now? That question puts responsibility back into your hands. You don't need to predict the future. You need to prepare yourself for it. Develop skills. Strengthen your discipline. Improve your character. Expand your knowledge. Learn to communicate. Learn to solve problems. Become dependable. Become adaptable. Because when opportunity appears, you want to be ready. Don't just wish for a better future. Become the person capable of handling one. If you want greater opportunities, increase your capacity. If you want more responsibility, become more responsible. If you want to create something meaningful, develop the patience to build it. If you want progress, stop waiting for motivation and start practicing consistency. Your future is not built through one dramatic decision. It is built through hundreds of small decisions that nobody applauds. You choose to learn instead of complain. You choose discipline instead of constant comfort. You choose courage instead of endless hesitation. You choose progress instead of perfection. And slowly, you become different. That's the real meaning of abundance. It isn't simply having more money, more possessions, or more opportunities. It is becoming a person who can recognize possibility, create value, adapt to change, and keep moving forward. So, walk into tomorrow with expectation, not entitlement. Expect challenges, but expect yourself to learn from them. Expect uncertainty, but expect yourself to adapt. Expect setbacks, but expect yourself to recover. Expect opportunities, and prepare yourself to recognize them. Most importantly, expect growth. Because the moment you stop believing that your future is fixed, you become willing to participate in creating it. Your life doesn't need to change all at once. You need to change the way you approach what comes next. Look forward. Prepare yourself. Take the next step. And when you reach that next level, don't stop there. Keep expanding, keep learning, keep building. Keep believing that another possibility exists. Don't wait for possibility to knock on your door. Become the person who is prepared to recognize it, pursue it, and turn it into reality.